Okay, everyone, it's the Two Ordinary Cops, and we're back again. And we do have a special guest with us today, Damo. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Back again. I'm in Alstonville, which is up in the sort of northern rivers area of New South Wales, between Lismore and Ballina. Just doing a bit of training, four-wheel drive training, good fun. But yeah, speaking of four-wheel driving, there's a lot of four-wheel driving that happens out in the western side of Queensland and the eastern side of the Northern Territory. And obviously, I served in Tennant Creek for a number of years in the early 2010, so 2012 to 2014, and then again with SAID. And in that time, we had quite a bit to do with the Queensland Police on the border um, of the Barkly Highway, which crosses basically from Mount Isa across to the Stewart Highway just north of Tennant Creek. And my favourite little town, and it was such a good little town that Slim Dusty wrote a song about it, the town of Camooweal. It became a little refuge for us NT coppers. It had a little pub there that was magnificent. And, we always got along well with the local Queensland cops there. And today we've got one of them, Amit Singh. Amit, how you going?
Yeah, not too bad, buddy. Hey, pretty good. Thank you to having me on your show.
Yeah, no, very welcome, mate. So, I had more to do with your predecessor, who was a bit notorious. We won't really go on about him, but um, I had quite a bit to do with Camooweal, and there was a bloody good relationship there, not just with the Camooweal local police, but also with the Mount Isa, more the crime units, the investigation teams that used to come out and do some of that drug work. But I mean, you lived there. I was at Tennant, which is in the middle of the territory, really, sort of 300 k's away. But you want to tell us about, what we might even do? We'll go back, we'll talk about that a bit later. But do you want to introduce yourself, just go through your career and let us know what you've done with the Queensland Police Service?
Yeah, mate. I joined up in 2008. The reason I joined up was because I wanted to help people and at the same time see the country. And yeah, from there, did my first year in Brisbane, and then I volunteered to serve in Mount Isa. And while I was there, then I volunteered to go and serve in Dumiji. Ended up staying there for 5 years, and then went to Harvey Bay, and then to Camooweal, where I met you. And from there, I went to Hopevale, and then to Erracoon, and then to at the moment I'm based in Cairns as a crime manager. So yeah, had a bit of moving around all over the place.
Yeah, so that's a hugely varied career. So you've obviously bounced around all over the state. You're doing the true statewide thing. Um, During those times, obviously, we've had some chats offline about some of the things that go on, especially in those remote areas. Do you remember anything in particular that happened in like that NT Queensland crossover?
Yeah, man, it was the best time of my career. Like obviously working with the Northern Territory Police, in doing all the operations in the cross border, and also learning how the Northern Territory Police works, and that they also supported me when I was lonely on my side, and supporting me with operations and stuff too. So we had a very good relationship with the Northern Territory Police. Going to communities like El Purulum and Umbrellawitch and all those areas, Alpara, and also helping searching for missing people. That was the biggest highlight there. We had a couple of people went missing, and one ended up getting located and taken to Alpurum, and two were still missing. So yeah, we went through and tried to find what happened to the other two, and then we ended up finding them. They were deceased, but yeah, and in working with the cattle stations, and yeah, and biggest highlight was on top of that was beating Northern Territory Police in the cricket games all the time at the Avon Downs.
Oh, I knew you'd bring that up. Yeah, yeah, that was always a bit of a
And
classic. But
funny thing is,
the
I
up
never
and
played
downs.
cricket in my life, man.
Yeah, you're joking. That's
Funny
incredible.
thing is, I
Yeah,
never.
the
Yeah, funny thing. I'm from Fiji, right? So never played cricket. I only knew a sport called cricket, and played rugby, soccer, and taekwondo and Muay Thai and stuff like that, but never cricket. So yeah, went in there when we still beat non-country
it's
police.
it's amazing because you're obviously an Indian Fijian. And given that India is the biggest supporter of cricket in the world, oh, that's very funny. No, fair enough, Amit. That's very good. Yeah. No, it's I mean, even the interactions, we know a lot of the same people. I know you mentioned Kylie Anderson. We've had her on, Commander Kylie Anderson. She's now the commander of the college. She's the
Oh, is she?
commander.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, commander of the Northern Territory Police Fire and Emergency Services College. So, a legend. She was very popular on here. So, obviously, we know her. And we've spoken a bit offline how you were having some troubles in town there, and all of a sudden you had some support. There was about a funeral where there's a lot of people from the NT over there, and there was you, the Queensland Police, and the NT was able to help. So it's a magical little. You just have to do in those places what you have to do, and just because you're in a different state or territory is irrelevant. That you're trained to do the job, you're sworn to do the job, and you just go and do it. You can cross the border and get stuff done. So that's what we did quite a bit, and I quite enjoyed that. But so obviously you've moved around a lot there. That's a lot, especially in the North Queensland. How did you find the difference with Queensland Police from the southeast corner, that real metropolitan policing in Brisbane, to heading out to that western corner?
My first year in Brisbane, like there'll be a job, a coded job, some fight up in Logan at Fitzy's, and we'll be in Annerley in South Bank area, and there'll be any units responding. There'll be 14, 15 units responding to that job at Fitzy in Logan, So there was, there's so many different units conveying. I went to Mount Isa a year later, so gone to a massive brawl. That was it. One crew. That's it.
Yeah.
That was a wake up call. You gotta. It's a different. It's a different kettle of fish, that one. Like working in the communities, you learn pretty quick to start understanding the community, start learning people, and understand and work in with the community at the same time too. Because they're the backup. Like for example, Camooweal to Avon Downs to Tanner Creek to Alpurum. There's a very, very vast distance for help to arrive if you get in trouble. So, you get to learn to work with both sides and make the most of it. That's why I love country policing. I've loved it. It's been and the people too. Like the community like itself. It's they always like I went to a fatal. I was by myself. And I got a call. It's a code 1. I was like, being in Camooweal, you get a coded job. You normally don't get that. And it's like code 1, meaning lights and sirens, and you got to get there. And got there, and obviously one of the drivers, she passed away, and the passenger was injured, and another passenger was injured. And I was by myself. And responded to that job, and had to deal with all that. And it's a main highway. Barclay Highway is the main highway, so you have to stop all the traffic because it's brain splatter over the road. So you got to create this crime scene and all that. And as I was driving out of the police station with my lights and sirens on, and people were sitting in the pub, they're seeing it. They're trying to wave me down, like, "You're right. You didn't have to come," because they knew something was up. Because I never used to drive with lights and sirens, just screeching out of the place. So they came in and helped me, sort of hold the traffic back and all that. And it's always having somebody there, like when you're dealing with those kind of stuff. So and you won't get to experience that if you are in city. It's a different kind of policing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So Chelsea obviously did a lot more bush time than I did, but I mean, in that area, you understand how the remote communities work and work in with it. But I find that amazing. We didn't do the codes in the territory. It was driver's discretion basically, or the crew's discretion, how they responded to the job. And they might be told to step it up by other units who attend might say all other units step it up, which basically means hurry up. But as far as codes, I know that Queensland certainly did the codes, and obviously we've spoken to Kath and Susie in relation to the Brett Fort shooting from 2017, and they were talking about how you can count on one hand how many code 1s you'll get sort of in your career, and they said that was the biggest code 1 that anyone had ever seen was that shooting. So Yeah, to get a code 1 in Camooweal. like,
Yeah.
Amit's coming. He's going as fast as the bloody Land Cruiser will go, all right? He'll get there.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it was. It's a different thing. Yeah, it's. But again, like having the community with you. Like after I come back from the scene, like obviously undertakers come in, and I had support from Manaza come in, and but you still have to stay there with everything and come back. And I had I had to still do the Form 1 and stuff, paperwork for the coroner, and all other stuff. But the community come in, just sit down with me at the station, just keep me company to keep you awake.
Yeah.
It gets a bit weird like that. But yeah, you feel the love, like you feel the love from the community. So yeah, I miss those kind of stuff. Like that's something you don't get in the cities,
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I used to love the community for that, and it just seemed like you seem to be a lot closer to people in the community, than you do in the city. Everybody in the city is so busy that they never really interact much, whereas in the community you create a tighter bond, I think. And yeah, I really do miss that, working in those communities.
And plus, like if there's an accident or rollovers and stuff like that. I remember one time it was a hay bales caught on fire. At that time there was the very serious droughts were on, like 2018, I think.
Yeah.
Or 2019, when they were getting all the hay bales from down south to NT and all that to provide food. And bloody one of that caught fire. Like I've never had to deal with hay bale fires before, and geez, it's a different kettle of fish. We had to get trucks from Manaza, but it was doing nothing. I don't know how many thousands and liters of water we put it in there, but it wasn't doing anything. But then try to get resources, like ringing the comms and going, hey, need a front end loader to push this thing off the thing, and people probably laughing at the back going, what are you going to do with the front end loader? But that's what you need. But because you have all these people, like the cattle stations nearby, they have got resources and other training centers around. You just ring around, and they bring all that for help you get your job done. It's hard. Like if that kind of thing happened in Brisbane, it's it's a bit of a different.
50 people standing around it recording on their phones.
Yeah.
But out in the bush, you'd have 50 people running madly to get something to help. And probably no one would record it until someone said, hey, do you mind recording this so we've got evidence of what we did? That, and that's the difference. I think there's that, come on, jump in. There's a very limited resource. And I think that's the beauty. And what I love, we've spoken about bush policing, but what I love is it's universal. Like we kind of said that. We sort of knew that it is universal, but we used to say to all the new guys, people wanting to join the police would ask advice, and we'd go bush. While you're young and your kids are young and all the rest, or you don't have kids yet, or if you're young and single, you'll probably find your other half, male or female, you'll probably find your other half out in the bush, and you'll have a magnificent story you'll sit back and smile in your older years, thinking of yourself, thinking of Camooweal, thinking of those other places. And I know that I'm like that territory. I sit back, especially Tennant. I sit back and close my eyes and just go, we had a hell of a lot of responsibility at quite a young age out in those little places.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. So obviously, Amit, you're still a serving member with the Queensland Police, but you've also started your own podcast. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I've started a podcast called Strong Legacy. It's about mentor. So as police officers, we go to different communities and we help a lot of people, and we move away from there and we forget all about that, how we help that person. And I was fortunate enough. I've suffered some challenges in work and personal life and health and everything like that. So I did a base camp, Everest base camp, and found out that bloody my heart was in bit of a state in terms of I was born with it. And with all the challenges at work I was facing, a lot of people reach out to me, and they started telling the stories about me, what I was doing in the communities and how I helped somebody and this person and that person. And then I started following these people, and I went as a mentor, like in these communities, like you see you as a mentor because you're helping them with the footy and coaching them in boxing and trying to get them to school and all those kind of stuff. And but after watching what they've achieved, like I went as a mentor, but now I've become a student because I'm learning. Because what they've achieved is like, holy hell, man! Like one of these kids, like he was bullied very badly and all that. He had his own difficulties like autism and all other issues he had, and he was getting bullied at school. At 8 years old, he said to me when I met him, he said he wanted to end his life. It's like, what? Like 8 years old, in Fiji, all I was doing is climbing trees and kicking soccer balls, like, 8 years old, those things didn't even come to the head, but started helping that kid. He wanted to be a world champion, and obviously he had a lot of difficulties, like in himself, like ADHD and all sorts of stuff. So helping him through and then getting him to meet the world kickboxing champion to help him, and then he had a fight with him, and then WBC, World Boxing Corporation, now he's the ambassador for WBC. He just came back from Thailand meeting with Usyk and all these guys. He was invited to go to Thailand with the WBC has every year they hold a forum with all the world champions to come together to help kids and other things. So yeah, they were all there, like Usyk, Amir Khan, all the WBC champions past and present was there, and he was with them. And he got his belt. So they actually given him 2 belts. One was the amateur world champion, and now he's got the obviously older version of it. So what he does is he's the ambassador for them for anti-bullying, WBC anti-bullying ambassador. So so watching all that, like I've never even touched the WBC belt or met any WBC world champions, and he's out there mingling with the president of WBC and all these things. So sort of changed my mind, like, and sort of got to like like we can feel bad about ourselves, but then as police, like, doesn't matter where you worked and everything like that, we have changed people's life around and helped them and gave a lot of people a steady outlook for life and changed their life for better. So we need to remember that, and a lot of people don't get that opportunity to go back and revisit and see these the changes they've made. So that's why I started doing this podcast where I bring people in, even with the health, if people have gone through health issues and they found out and how they changed their life, so what they can do to benefit other people. So that's what it's all about.
Definitely. We're all people. We're people. I think people forget that a bit. And I think it's funny. There's a lot of perception that policing is all about power and all the rest of you're the biggest bullies out. It's like, no, policing is about massive responsibility. It's about solving problems, and the weight of the world is on your shoulders because people do look at that blue uniform and go, you need to fix this shit. And we're just people. So, and I think that's universal. So, that has an impact, especially in those smaller communities. If you can have an impact on people who are vulnerable and who need a bit of assistance, that's massive. But also there was you mentioned offline and we've obviously mentioned as well the suicides that were occurring within policing. 2022 was a very bad year for the Northern Territory Police as far as suicides go, and we've mentioned that. But you had a similar kind of experience.
Yeah, like there's been it's not just, I think, just here, but law enforcement and emergency services all around the world. There's a lot of incidents happening with suicide or depression and stuff like that. Because, as law enforcement officer or emergency, we deal with between 600 or 800 critical incidents. And, a normal person probably deals 6 in their life. But what the difference with the emergency and the law enforcement officers is that after they deal with that, they have to go back to another job. Like as in, there's another job waiting in the queue. So, and then, they learn how to suppress it without expressing it or dealing with it. And sometimes people get to alcohol and all other stuff. And then, work challenges too, pressures and stuff like that, and family pressures. So there's a lot of stuff there that is sometimes not spoken about, and police officers sometimes, get stuck in that, and sometimes they feel lonely, isolated. That's why it's very important to also I want to in my podcast and obviously with you guys doing this, want to highlight that it's very important to look out for each other's six, like as we say, and while we were doing that, it's very important to check up on each other. To just a simple text message sometimes can change the trajectory of somebody, what they're thinking, to change the perception of what they're going to do. Because I did one podcast with one of the former police sergeant in QPS, and he mentions a incident where he knew that somebody was going through some challenges at work, and so he decided that they just sent him a message to say, hey, you're a really good person, good worker, you're more than enough, and some other lovely words. And anyway, years later, this person met that person and said, this is the text message you sent me that time, and showed the text message and said, when you send me this text message, I made my mind up to go to work. Before message came through, she had that mindset to go to work and kill herself at work to teach people a lesson. And because of that message came in at the right time, changed the trajectory. Like she never told that to that person, and but after, when they've finished work and they're out of work and they discussed that, and she still kept that the message and the phone. That it's just sometimes it's just sending each other a text message to say, how you doing, all good, mate, catch up for whatever, so it's very important. What about you guys? Do you guys think that's important? Have you seen it? Or
Yeah, mate. No, definitely. It's actually funny you talk about something like that, and it's not. Wasn't a particularly a female officer was going through a hard time, but she did have a lot of difficulties when she was going through, in the police and all that sort of stuff, and she handled this domestic that I ended up taking over. She passed it off onto me. But it was the victim was very apprehensive about coming into police and all that, so very scared. And it was basically because of the performance of this female officer that the female actually felt comfortable in actually talking to police, and otherwise nothing probably would have happened. So I wrote a report. I was in charge of the family and domestic violence unit at the time, and I actually put a note that I sent through to the superintendent, and I sent it to her as well. And I said, can you make sure this goes on her file, because this sort of work needs to be, applauded, and this is the sort of officers that we need in the future. It's really important, and she's still got a printout of that to that day, and she's now a detective sergeant. So, and she just told me, she said that was one of the biggest things, that it just gave her more confidence and, the ability to keep moving and keep doing a good job. So like, as much as, and like police, the problem with police, anybody's always going to make a complaint about the police, but not many people compliment when they do a good job. And I think it's very, very important. Like, I had an officer pull me up in Queensland, and it was just a normal random breath test, just the run of the mill. I hadn't anything to drink, but his mannerism was so good. I actually went on the QPS website afterwards and actually put a good compliment in about how he handled himself, because I thought it needs, these are the sort of officers, they need to know they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And that bit of confidence can really help in their careers. So, that's probably, that's my take from it. So what about you, Damo?
I've got an example there, and I have mentioned it previously, but I think I only touched on it briefly. So this will certainly sing for any of the any serving police officers out there. I, as a sergeant, and then as an acting senior sergeant, you get access to all the professional standards kind of side of things, and you become what's called a prescribed member. So as a senior sergeant especially, you basically are the first port of call for all those complaints against police. which means you're smacking the bottoms of cops. What I found amazing was that I tried to nominate, when I was a sergeant in Darwin City, I tried to nominate 2 of my constables, they were senior constables, for bravery. I thought they deserved a bravery medal for something that I witnessed them do. To do with without going into a lot of detail, it was to do with them apprehending with bare hands and very minimal force a mentally ill elderly man. Elderly doesn't mean not strong and capable of cutting your head clean off with a bloody cane axe, a cane saw, which is what he had. Anyway, they distracted him and they put him. He should have been a straight up taser or a firearm if you went by the rules of the way you're trained. But these 2 didn't do that. They went up and they basically caused a distraction and very quickly put him in a double bear hug, basically, and then were able to wiggle the blade out of his hand. And they put themselves at extreme risk because this was a big cane, it's like a palm frond saw. They're about 2 feet long, big curve with massive teeth in that. They'll cut you really quickly. So they had done a really good job. So I tried to nominate them for this bloody bravery award, and I got it sent back to me. It wasn't the bloke I was sending it to. It wasn't his fault. He goes, "Oh, mate, it needs to be in this format. It needs to be in that format. No, that's not going to be enough. Oh, we need more detail on this. Have you got the promise number? Have you got that?" They wanted all this information. I'm too busy. I had too much to do. If I wanted to put them in trouble, it would be a 1-sentence entry on on a system called Blue Team, and that would spark an investigation. So what I found was, it was damn near impossible to give credit where credit was due, but it was super, super simple to throw them in the shit. And I thought that was wrong. I thought Professional Standards Command should be way more about investigating anything outside the norm, be it positive or negative, and acting there. And it should be like, there needs to be an investigation into these guys. They've showed extreme bravery, and I think they deserve almost a national level medal of bravery for what they've just done. I've seen what people have had bravery medals for. The overwhelming majority were very, very brave. Well, I thought what I witnessed that day was equally, and I would even say more so brave than some people have got bravery medals for. So I thought it was definitely worthy. I only did it once in my 15-year career. It wasn't like I was there throwing out gongs. But I just thought what I'd witnessed that day was worthy of a bravery medal. And for the life of me, I couldn't get it even reported, let alone acted on. But if they had not acted in accordance with general order, blah, 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 I could have had them in the shit in 5 seconds flat. And I just thought that was wrong. And that's why it's so important for the positive to come through. I mean, police do so much wildly extraordinary stuff, and not just police, emergency services, the military. Things that people are just going about their daily business don't even know about. They see lights and sirens car and make some shit joke about the fact they're rushing off to get a coffee. Well, no, they're probably not. They're probably going to hold someone's skull together. So, you couldn't do that, so stop knocking them, And I just think that the compliments are so important. People will remember a compliment for years. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, mate. Before anybody else goes on, I completely agree. I think it is just so important to do that sort of stuff, because it can just really, like, I mean, you said, it can just change their trajectory and the way they're thinking and all that sort of stuff. And I mean, the thing is also the public, like, as it's all over the media if a police officer does something wrong. And everybody, then, the bloody police. But they forget about the thousands upon tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of jobs that those officers have done extremely well. And nobody talks about that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. Positive reinforcement is so important in promoting positivity, and at the same time giving that confidence in the police officers, like they... So this is my biggest thing is, like, I like to, we were lucky enough, we had this thing called Workplace, came in into this in QPS, where we could just directly post things without having to go into the police media and stuff like that. We can post it ourselves. It only is internal, goes to all the QPS. So yeah, every time we used to have big bust, like, seizing, like, $50,000 worth of alcohol, street value. So I'll put the photo up there and say great work by this officer and that officer and this and that, and this many domestic violence saved. But sometimes people down south, they think that is offensive because the thing was, it's like, why are you taking alcohol off, First Nations people and smiling? But it wasn't that we were smiling, but it was just like, there was a great victory tonight. We're not going to have any calls for service. The kids and the women are going to be safe tonight, So, but, you pose these things up because then that becomes a thing for the officers to then use them in the resume, because then the commissioner or the assistant commissioners, they used to get on and comment like, oh, great job, deputy commissioners, And so that was the thing. So I believe positive reinforcement, gone the days you can just send an email to someone to say, hey, mate, great job. Nobody knows that you've done a great job, only you and that officer. But I think it's sometimes very important to also follow that up with publicly acknowledging great work officer has done. Not everything, but there's a lot of stuff get done. Like you guys are aware of it. Like there's so many jobs every officer is doing. There's so many opportunities to put that good work out there to say, man, what a great job, publicly in front of the peers, acknowledge that, because I think it's very important to build that person's confidence moving forward. Otherwise, it's very hard. It's very hard because, going to job to job to job to job, and you're going and copying all different abuse and all sorts of stuff, and then coming back, and then they go like, let's do it again next day. But if you don't break that up with some sort of positive comment or stuff like that, it's just, I strongly believe Damo what he said. Like it's very important to reward those kind of things. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. And look, what we were talking about at the beginning there was the suicide. Well, that's the ultimate end of when someone has been beaten down to the point where they don't see a way out. There's no possible solution. We talked about 2022. We've spoken about what went on up there in a previous episode. But just to recap on it, basically, there were three very well-known Northern Territory police officers in the space of, I believe it was 4 months. Took their own lives while current serving. I think one of them had retired, but he was still an extraordinarily well-known Northern Territory police officer, almost famous in the NT Police. He'd actually been on Sunrise, he'd been interviewed on Sunrise relatively recently, within a few years of his death. Extremely well-known watch commander and a mentor, considered one of the toughest blokes in the job. He could just go to everything and make everyone feel good about it. The fact that he took his life was a massive shock for any of us who knew him. Another one was a fella who was highly respected, and he happened personally for me. He was a close personal friend and a family friend. So his wife was also a police officer, and his kids and my kids were friends. And the third was the fella, and this was a tragedy because he was the nicest bloke in the police force. He was seriously well known. He'd been in for over 20 years, and was, without exaggeration, the nicest bloke in the police force. And I've spoken about him before, but it was just funny that, well, not funny is the wrong word, but it was just interesting that it happened to be three extraordinary people who took their own life within that short period of time. And I know that this happens all over the place, but the little tiny Northern Territory Police reeled from that, because we'd had the odd suicide through the years, and I was certainly aware of a couple that went on, but it was a shock. But it's statistically going to occur. But when you get 3 in 4 months, and it was these such well-known, highly experienced police, it was just a shockwave went through the place. And it was a bit of a wake-up call for a lot of people, and they started calling on something. Come on, you got to stop kicking these cops. They do extraordinary work, and you just keep kicking them. Like society just keeps kicking them. So I think that was, you can't help what society thinks, and that is what it is. People have the right to say whatever they like. Well, they used to. I don't know if they do anymore. But there was certainly freedom of speech at the time, and we didn't care what people said to us. They're only words. But when that came from your own leadership, that's where it hurt, and that really did hurt people in the police force deeply. And it all comes back to, if they had just had a pat on the shoulder, that many times we saw these guys do extraordinary work, and I doubt they got told how well they did. I seriously doubt they got a compliment for it.
Yeah, like I said, that's why with this the podcast I'm doing, it's also all about officers like all the ones I'm doing, like people actually mentioning a police officer in their life that came in their life, how they helped them. And I wish, I wish I can do more to like sort of highlight the fact that every officer that joins up, doesn't matter which state or country you work, they all try to do their best. And always they've helped so many people without even knowing, like, because nobody follows up, right? So if people just went back and followed up and how they changed even one person's life around, that's a massive thing. There's one less person in jail, one less family that needs government assistance or is in the court system. So kudos to all the officers, and that's what I want to highlight is that we're going to always have challenges at work. We're always going to have challenges at with the public. We can always, but the main things we got to do is we got to look after each other's six. Doesn't matter what. Somebody's feeling down. Like one of the guests came on mine, ex sergeant, and he said he was ex-police, ex-army, and then joined the police, and he was just drinking alcohol to mask pain, but people thought he was just a big drinker, but he just didn't know how to ask for help. Then when finally some people really got him to get some help, and otherwise he would have slipped through too. Like it's just everybody's getting to that trajectory where they going towards that bad area of their life, so it's so important as colleagues and what are you guys doing? This is a good podcast where you can listen and have a laugh about things too, because it resonates, because it's so similar. Everything is so similar.
It's the same shit. It's not similar, it's the same shit. I mean, it's exactly the same.
It's the same thing, man. Like I went to Canada because I was doing Bachelor of Policing 2012, 2014, 15. So I went around Europe and America and Canada just to hang out with the police there and see, their experience in dealing with the different remote areas and stuff like that. And what I found was, man, it was the same shit another day.
Yeah, it's just, same shit, different accent. In the US, it's just more guns.
That's it. And in Canada too, same thing. I met one police officer. He was in it was a car cross. It's sort of towards it's called Whitehorse, that area, a district called Whitehorse. I went and met the district there, and then went to a place called Crowcross. It's a small community there. 3 police officers, but I was staying in a remote outpost there, watching the Great Northern Lights. And anyway, I told the manager there, like, want to meet a Mountie, and so he had some connections. So the Mountie came next day. I think traveled 2 hours driving to come and meet me there. And
wow.
And had a chat. Great bloke, gave me all the patches and hat and everything. And we sat down and had a good chat for a couple of hours. And so I said, so so he was sort of like a French side, because if Mountie's like, where you're from, you can't work. You have to go and work on the opposite side. So he was working in there. So I'm like, so he's right next to Alaska, if it makes sense what I'm talking about, where it is. So, but he, before he car crossed, before Whitehorse, he was working in Nunavut, where Inuit people live. That's formerly probably not a good term, but Eskimos, Nunavut. So that's where he was. So I'm like, oh wow. So what was it like there? He goes, oh man, best people there, great everything. I said, so right. So how did you, like, food wise, what was the thing? He goes, yeah, we had to, barge only comes once a year because the ice breaks and all that. So once a year. So you only get the barge coming once a year. I said, oh man, can I ask you one question? He goes, yeah, what is it? He goes, mate, how much toilet paper do you have to order? It's just for one whole year. Serious questions, serious questions. Because, when you live in the remote, like, I remember living in Brisbane and stuff, we had to do, 3-4 months shopping at a time, so you got to make sure you got your supplies in order. So, he said, mate, once a year. Just make sure you got so much.
Wow. So not many people could say they'd ordered 2 pallets of dunny roll.
Yeah, that's right.
And a semi-trailer's worth of 4X gold, which getting that to Alaska would be a drama, just quietly.
That was my question. It would have been about how much beer.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. It's Inuit. I wanted to go there, Nunavut. I wanted to go there, but I ended up going to this time to Svalbard, Long Year Band in Norway. It's a, you know what? There's the only place in my travels I have never seen, haven't seen a graffiti.
Yeah.
And I want to go and check with the police. Like, mate, what are you guys doing here? Like, what's the crime? Because on the Google you type, there's no crime in Svalbard. So I couldn't find the police there because obviously they're busy, and I'll try to find it and just couldn't get to them because it's a 24-hour darkness. So don't know what time they're working or not, but it's one of those things. So, but yeah, so there's only been one drama there where somebody tried to rob a bank and he got caught while robbing it. I don't think he really wanted to rob it. He just wanted to go to a Norwegian jail because he was from Russia.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So so I was just like, where did you get the gun from? He goes, well, before when you get off the aeroplane, they used to give you the gun because of polar bears.
Oh, right.
So it was very loose fucking weapon licensing there back then. Yeah. But then again, when we went for a cave walk, like you got to go up to the what do you call it? The mountain to climb up and go into the caves. It's just all dark. Outside is all dark. Inside, obviously, it's very dark. But the guides have to carry a rifle and the flare guns and all those things because of the polar bears. Because it actually has attacked people so many and killed them. So they have to have it. But anyway, we're walking, our group, there's another group, there's fucking groups after groups after groups going through these caves. You've got to climb all the way up and in the glaciers to get in there. And anyway, so we got there and he gives us a big talk about rifle, got to shoot the bear and all these. And okay, cool. We got to the cave mouth. He takes his fucking weapon off, leaves it on the mouth of the cave, and we're walking inside. And I'm like, well, what about your rifle, man? He goes, and I see other rifles there from this another, what do you call it, the tour guides. So they just, leave. I said, well, the rifle there. I said, what if somebody picks it up? He goes, oh, no, he'll be all right. Like, I'm like, but, the people that are in the group, we don't know who's in the groups.
Just let the rock
loose, very loose up there. But anyway, what I found out there was that October is the biggest time of the year they have the suicide. There's only 2,300 people there, but yeah, the suicide rate is fucking horrendous apparently. Wow. Because of they've got 24-hour daylight, and then they transition into 24-hour darkness. So as they're coming towards the darkness, they get all depressed and stuff like that. So it's a very big issue there, and that's why I think the government tries to send people away on holidays in October time. So a lot of people go on holidays. Yeah. So it doesn't matter where you live. Bloody there's pain and suffering everywhere, and only one place I found that didn't have graffiti. Maybe it's too dark. I didn't see it, but.
Oh yeah,
and it was covered in snow too. So, but yeah.
No, it's we've spoken about it too. Obviously, what you're doing is a great thing, mate. Anything that we can do to just fix this stuff, like if there's any way that we can not even fix the whole problem completely, but just improve it. I love what Zach Rolfe said. Let's go to the next less shit place. And then when we're there, let's go to the next less shit place. And then all of a sudden we go to a place that's, no, this is not so bad. And let's get better. And I love that. And we're not expected to go from all of a sudden there's no suicide. But let's move to the next less shit place. Let's reduce it. Let's save a couple of lives,
Yeah.
And that's, oh, God, I dealt with so many suicides, it wasn't funny. As a police officer, though, so it's different. You're turning up and you're
it makes it a bit difficult. It makes it a bit difficult when you have to deal with your brother and sister in blue, and just brings a lot of things home, And again, some of the times you just go like, well, what could I've done? Like, what could I've done? Like we had obviously our former president, Ian Levers, he died. That was a big shock to us because he was our he was our guy, like always providing us support, had a beer for us anywhere we met him in a pub or anything. Doesn't matter he was working or not. There was always a beer for you.
Yeah.
You rock up like, hey man, how you doing? Like, it's, hey, beer first, let's talk. How you doing? How's family? How's this? How's work? It's just great bloke. Like, like he was always checking up. Even when he was doing the cross-border commissioner work, he still was connected, still talking, saying hello. Didn't have to, but then who knows what happens with people. And sometimes we think somebody's very strong, but they might not be, inside, suffering in silence. So that's very important to have this kind of conversation going where we reaching out to people and having a confidential chat, just a beer. Like I like your guys' idea of going to pubs and going, hey, catch up at the pub. I've got a beer for you.
And that's something I was going to mention earlier. I mean, like, Damo and I are big talkers about the police club. And it wasn't so much about drinking, but it was about camaraderie and, talking. And it was a safe space where you could talk. And I think it's gotten a bit worse since those places have been removed out of the police stations and so on and so forth. And I imagine Queensland removed them a lot earlier than what we did. Do you guys have any police clubs in Queensland? Do you know?
No, not that many. I remember when I first started, we had social club in the station. So when you come back from a job, which was a bit hairy, sit down, the OIC will sit down, have a beer with you and just check up on you. And, you just have a good chat and then you go home. And then obviously going to Mount Isa was it's a social club there, which is, they still retain it. It's really good for mental health and all that stuff for the officers, to have somewhere to safe to go and have a drink and enjoy themselves. Not many places is left, but there's a lot of bad things have also happened. Some people just push it too far too. So, but I think it's very important to have a healthy balance.
Yeah.
Healthy balance to bring that, because it's so important to build that camaraderie again. And like I liked, with old Commander Carly and Tanya Mace. She was the OIC at the time in Tennant Creek, and just going to Tennant Creek and catching up with all the guys there, and they were so open about things. You can come and stay there. You wanna spend a night here, stay here, and come and have a drink with us. Just stuff like that. It was so great for camaraderie, for me to feel like I feel included in the Northern Territory Police. And good thing they did for me was like over grateful. They actually got me an award from the I think AC Beer. Do you remember her?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, we did a traffic operation where, and all the stuff I did there. Yeah, they didn't have to do any of that for me. All I was doing was doing my job, helping another brothers and sisters on the other side. And they took it to the one step forward for my work I did for Northern Territory Police. They, as a cross-border, they, went and got an award for me. And I was always going to be grateful, because that gave me also going like, what? Every time I'm going to talk to anybody about it, it's like, what a great operations we were running, but at the same time building that friendship. There's another thing I'll tell you, this is a funny stuff. So when we we challenged Northern Territory Police to come and play. So we even got our assistant commissioner to come and everything. And so Northern Territory rock up with 2 police officers, Tanya Mace and I forgot who else was there. Somebody from Alice Springs came. Anyway, there's only 2 officers, and they're like, oh, we don't have players. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we can give you guys players, but it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, what is that? You're going to be starting on minus 40 points.
Yep.
So we had like 2 teams, so that many players. So anyway, somehow they they still couldn't beat us because of that negative starting they had. So we won the trophy, celebrated it. I left the trophy on the side, and we were talking. Next thing you know, Tanya Mays and them stole the trophy.
Yes. Yeah, you can't beat the banter of the bush.
Holy Jesus. It was like a couple of weeks of so they were going everywhere with it, went to Mount Isa with it, took photos and sending me all these photos, like, where's Wally kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had to go and bloody go back to Tennant Creek and steal it from there.
Yeah. Oh, too good.
then they sent me an email saying that, like, lock it or lose it. That's why it's not an offense. But I went and got it because I had some CIs working in Tennant Creek Station too, so knew where it was. So went in there and got it and come back. So it was funny stuff. But yeah, no, it's those kind of stuff. You just you just can't match it. If I just stayed in Brisbane, I would have never had this experience meeting people. Like some of the stuff, even that Litchfield stuff I was talking about to Damo, that job, the guy was stealing all the cars and dumping in Queensland, and we found it in the cattle station. And they were trying to steal.
We had a conversation offline. I'll just bring people up to speed. So obviously, this is when I was Detective Sergeant Trident, and I, for the life of me, mate, I dealt with a few of these jobs. I can't remember the exact details.
No. There were so many.
Yeah. But you keep going. That story, yeah.
But that was a good one because so I was working with the Avon Downs yourself with the Trident,
yeah.
And then obviously the lady Litchfield, I think she was a mango farmer. Like I think it was her stuff that was stolen, and she was ringing me directly. I'm like, well, look, we're trying our best. We'll get it to you. We just gotta work in with when it comes in, we'll do it. And anyway, so we had some good intel coming in, and then this guy just actually crossed the border, and I got him, and then brought him back to say, but I couldn't do anything because found out there was a lot of stuff on Northern Territory side. He was going jail, but I told. Obviously, I could only do him for bringing stolen goods into Queensland. So I said, look, can you do me a favor to his partner? Like, can you please take this quad bike and drop it at Avon Downs cattle station because they have got the ramp. I didn't have a ramp there, and they can then come and pick it up from there. That'll be a big favor for me. Anyway, they jump in, head back that way, and then let the Avon Downs guys know that okay, it's been released, nothing to do with me anymore. But I've heard, they're gonna go and drop the thing on the other side just in case they pop up that side. Anyway, then they got him. With all the warrants.
That's a bush extradition. That is a bush extradition.
He went for jail, I think, a couple of years.
Cross the border. Yeah, cross the border voluntarily, go back to the Northern Territory and just drop that off and then come back through. Yeah, no worries. Police waiting. Hello, Chief.
Because he thought he got done, done in Queensland. I was like, no, I just told him you've been done for bringing stolen goods. That's it. And here's a bail. Make sure I go to court on this day. And
yeah,
that's it.
No, perfect.
And so, no, it was good. Things like that. It was just stuff like that you just don't get to do. So no, it was good. And then just working with, and the camaraderie was so great. When you would have been doing that, the fireworks operation, and then I was doing it, just hanging out with different police officers from different state, just different things they bring in, different bells and whistles, like finding out about that you guys had a dog that can sniff a carver, It's just the doggy comes and goes, yeah, have a look at this. I'm like, what is that? He goes, that's carver. I'm like, yeah, that is carver. What are you doing with that? He goes, well, my dog can sniff carver. And I'm saying, why would you want the dog to sniff carver? What is the go? He goes, no, well, it's illegal on that side. And I didn't know at that time it was illegal in Northern Territory.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's when they, the Tongans were bringing in with the bloody, what do you call it? In a hatchback. They've got big Tongans sitting there. And he's like, what the heck, man?
Actually, Schultzy's kicked off a bit of controversy with that very recently, telling that story. And there's a bit of pushback. But I mean, everything that people go, provide evidence. It's like, well, there's shit tons of evidence. It's all court documented. Obviously the reason, and I'll just explain that, while we're on here, the reason that, and it's not that it's completely unlawful, there were regulations around it, and it was unlawful in certain areas. The reason for that is because in those
they're selling for so much money.
Well, I mean, they were selling it for an appalling amount of money, but that wasn't necessarily the problem. The problem was the consumption of kava in that East Arnhem country and
Yeah.
even the West Arnhem area was excessive to the point where it caused problems, not the same, but it's still not the same as alcohol, I should say, but it still caused huge problems within the Aboriginal community, and it was mostly to do with neglect of children. Um,
Yeah.
there were children in places like Maningrida that were raised by camp dogs. I'll never forget wild-eyed kids running around naked at 3, 4 years of age, and they were literally part of the pack. They were part of the pack of dogs.
Jesus.
They would run away from people like the dogs would, and they would come back in and they would run through like you'd see the dogs and the kids digging through bins for food. That was because the parents were so out of their heads on kava, just lying around doing nothing, that they were neglecting their children. So it was a very unique thing for something that is held in such high regard in the Pacific Islands and is considered almost religion. In the hands of the people, and not obviously not everyone, but and it was brought in there to relieve the problems caused by alcohol, but it was just consumption to the point of nothing else mattered, and I think that was why it was such a problem.
Yeah.
See, kava holds a very, very important status in the South Pacific. Like in Fiji, for example, like, if you have a problem, like, for example, two warring families having a fight, and the only way to sometimes dispute that is you take a kava and take it to the chief, and then they bring the other party in and you give the kava, and that's it. That's done.
Yeah.
That's problem solved. And again, ceremonies, like, any kind of ceremonies, kava is there. But it's not, kava is not a thing where you drink it till you're supposed to for ceremonial use or just social setting. It's not like abusing it. Like when you're abusing it, that's just abuse.
Well,
It's not anything with tradition then.
I think a lot of the look talking about comments, there was I think over 700 and all. Most of them were derogatory, definitely towards me, because I was talking about it. And look, I'm old enough and smart enough to know that it's all bullshit. It's people that don't really know what they're talking about. And look, I can understand, like especially the Tongans that were upset about it. But however, in that location, it was terrible. So there's a few Tongans that were making an absolute fortune off vulnerable people because they can't handle their kava, and it creates massive problems. And a lot of them saying, "Oh, but it's better than alcohol." But also in those areas, alcohol's illegal. So especially in Ramangini. So and it's illegal for a reason, because the same reason as kava. And
and they can't argue with that. Like, it's illegal.
Yeah.
It's illegal. It's not legal. It's illegal in the place. So just stay away from there, like with the kava. Don't care if it's a tradition. Like for me too, like, I grew up with kava and stuff, like, not drinking it, but I was never a favorite of it because it bloody tastes like dirty water anyway.
It does,
It's something that just doesn't palate me. I've been to like ceremonies where if we have to leave the country and stuff like that, you got to do it with the chief and stuff, especially with sporting teams. We used to have to do it. Go and have a bowl of kava with the chief to get the blessing and all that. But apart from that, man, just never got into it. But again, it has to be. I've been a big. I used to fight with everyone about it. Like, man, come on, get off the fucking alcohol and kava, and get back. Like same thing. Footy players, like we've got awesome footy players there. But what happens is people get into kava, and then the athletic abilities is sort of going down.
Yeah.
You drink kava all night, you're not going to perform the same way in the daytime, are you? So, and it makes you lazy. Kava, it doesn't make you angry, but it makes you lazy.
Yes.
If you drink enough of it, you'll be like a crab walking. I've seen people walk like crabs. So, look, tradition aside, it's illegal, and doesn't matter what you say, it's illegal. So, till the government changes it, don't bring it in. Simple. Or give it for free. It's the people that are gonna whinge about this kind of stuff. It's people who have never had to deal with, like, same thing. Putting those posts out about how much grogs we're seizing and all that, and people down south get all upset. They're like, whoa, why are you taking alcohol from First Nation people and smiling about it? Well, I'm not smiling about that. It's a victory for like, people go through so many different lengths to smuggle this grog into these communities. There's fucking art to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be on so much ball to be able to catch them. Because when you catch them, there's not going to be people fighting in the street. There's not going to be DV. There's not going to be kids going to go with it. Because some of the alcohol, like some places, there's $500 for a bottle of rum.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
what was it? $300 to $500 for a 5 liter bladder of wine. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, where does the money come from? It comes from people's houses, and then next thing you know, what goes next? No food.
Yeah, that's
Who
right.
suffers? The kid suffers, and they walk around the street. This kind of stuff, a lot of people don't appreciate it or don't see it, and they don't understand it. When you've been there, you lived it, you've seen it, and you want to help put a stop. I know it's not the answer, but till they come up with something different,
Yeah.
that's what we have to protect people. So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, there was a whole lot of comments sitting there going, "Oh, it's just because the white man's not getting the money." It's not about that. It's about it's destroying families.
yeah,
And like you said,
yeah,
preventing violence. Like, you get a whole community on the grog. I remember there was one time in Kalkaringi, and there was a like basically they brought in a truckload, and it was like World War II the next day. Like
yeah.
the station was just full of people with broken arms and broken limbs, and victims, and we had offenders, and it was horrific. And if you don't stop that, or you limit that sort of stuff, that's what you end up with.
Yeah, like going back to the suicide and depression and the emergency service and policing is very important. And having this light conversation where we can allow people to come and tell the story in a good way, nothing political, just
Yeah.
just express like what they did and how they helped got out of that dark alcohol. Like for me, when I was feeling a bit down with the challenges at work I had, and my name was plastered on the paper, and was suspended, and wasn't allowed to talk to any police, and I went to the base camp. It was a great escape for me. It happened at the right time, and I was there, and like I said, the community people from all these communities send me message like, "Hey, we've seen this, we know who you are, you're a good person," and I was like, whoa, I was overwhelmed, like, and that's as a result of that I started that Strong Legacy podcast to highlight that we might have some challenges. That gave me a way to sort of get positive again, because I thought, oh shit, man, this is it. Everybody's fucking hates me or whatever. But having that coming from all the community where I worked in like all these communities like Dumiji, Arakoon, Hopeful, Mount Isa, Camooweal, you got Normanton, Mornington Island, all these kind of places. You've done a lot of work on those places, and when people from those places start sending you messages, you're just like, whoa, I must have done something good, and then sort of gets you into the right frame of mind, like, oh shit, and then following those people. So I think everybody has those stories. All the police officers has those kind of stories. So we just have to, this kind of podcast we just sort of remind them that you're amazing, you're doing a great job. Not every day is going to be the same, but we got to work on our camaraderie better. How can we do it better? How can we support each other much better than what we're doing at the moment?
Yeah. Definitely. And look, I mean, how do people get in contact with you? Like if they want to come on and talk about this sort of stuff.
Oh, they just I've got my Facebook page too. It's called Amit Singh Strong Legacypodcast.
Yep.
And I'll put my phone number there too, so you can share. So so people normally do that, and so I've got another podcast going in the service. It's called the role of fitness in policing.
Oh yeah.
So basically, the other thing is I try to highlight is that for me personally, I was always been a fit and healthy person. I always everywhere I went there, I always made sure everybody was training and stuff like that, eating. But I wasn't sleeping. I just was not a person that slept a lot. How it is. Sleeping is for the weak. I was one of those people. And obviously when I went to the base camp with my heart, obviously I found out I had the congenital heart disease, which you're born with it. And all this time, nothing was picked up. So when I finally found out, so now I've got to go to open heart surgery. So going backwards on that, so when I started going to the doctors and stuff and talking with the psychologist in terms of PhD students, which are actually doing studies on police, law enforcement stresses and stuff like that, and dietitians and stuff like that. So I bring them on to have a chat, and then bringing all the officers in to give their story, like how they changed their life around, and what was the sticking point, and what advice would they give to the younger version of you. You're just coming out of the academy now. Now you know all these things. What advice would you give you if you were the person coming out of the academy right now? So there's been good, like, so people have started taking note of that, and because they're, eating right, sleeping, movement. Yep. Instead of talking about fitness, we started talking about movement. It's about what you can do. If you can do today 5 push-up, that's 5 push-up it is for the day. Yep. Next day, if you can do 10, do 10. If you can do 5, 5. But doing something every day is the important. And also sleeping hygiene, about, like for especially police officers, like, we eat like night shift, we start eating fucking shit at probably 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning.
Murder investigations are probably about the worst, I reckon.
So, all the crap stuff we eat. Like, I remember when I was working in Brisbane, like, we used to go to the McDonald's at 3 in the morning. All the 14 stations will be at one McDonald's getting some burgers at 3 in the morning, But these are the wrong things to do, because our system are not there designed to digest food at night time, So, we're eating all this stuff, and then we're going home at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. We can't sleep. We're having a bad sleep because guess what? We had coffee at fucking 5 o'clock. Yeah. And what we had McDonald's at bloody 6 o'clock. So again, we're working with the dietitian. They're providing, like, okay, if you're going to eat something, eat at 10 o'clock at night time. So you got enough time for your body to sort of handle that. But if eat dinner by 5 or 6 in the night time and have some light snack in between. So, and then making your room nice and dark and cold. 18 degrees is the optimum, they reckon. Just not having any white noise like phone and stuff outside your room. So you're just sleeping cold, nice, and making your room a cocoon. And I started doing that. So as I was learning from the dietitians and stuff, I started doing that. I'm sleeping much better now. Like, for the first time in my life, I'm doing at least 6 to 7 hours a night. I wasn't doing that. So and it makes you a bit more better, mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. So and it can only make it better for you at work and in life, because then you're going to start eating healthy and all those kind of stuff. So the other thing I did was talking about mindfulness with depression and all that. It's a very important thing. And I went to this place down south in New South Wales. There's a place called Harama Krishna place. It's a vegetarian place, and it's all the hippies hang out. Oh, nothing wrong with hippies, but that's might get in trouble if I say the word. But
you want.
That, and that's the thing. So they obviously it's all vegetarian food, and they do yoga. Like, I hated yoga all my life, because when I was professionally fighting, they tried to introduce me to yoga. I'm like, mate, I do stretching. I'm happy. Yoga is not for me, because it's not tough. It's not a tough thing. Pump weights and stuff. So I went there for a week, did yoga like you do classes all day long, and eat vegetarian food. It just opened my mind about how much strength you can build by yoga, just incorporating yoga in your daily life to just mindfulness stuff. And I didn't realize that mindfulness meant like not going for like meditation or something. You could be just something you can just take your mind off stuff. And this is very important for policing when you're in a depressed mode, or you're going to depressed mode, or just had a bad day at work or hard work. Just get home to cut the work from your life, and in between time how you can do it. So just sometimes listening to music, not anything to do with work or family life. It's just breaks that, having that break. So it was so important for me to do that. Before I can start talking about it, I thought I like to go and do it myself, and see if it works. If it works on me, it probably will work on other people. So it's, this
No,
kind of stuff.
magnificent. I mean, and look, everything you're saying is just resonating. It's just so true. So what you're doing is fantastic, mate. All the best with that, because it's just such a good cause, and all the best with your career too. I don't know what you're planning, and you don't need to tell everybody what you're up to, but it's I just wish you all the best with it, because I know I certainly got along well with you out there in Camooweal. I stayed there a couple of times there, and obviously had that professional relationship there with the property offences, cross-border property, admittedly a long way away. And I think I do remember that conversation. I remember saying, Amit, do you remember me? I stayed at, and you went, oh, I think so. And then I think I saw you, and I had another conversation at Camooweal, driving back and forth from Queensland. Obviously, my family's into it. And it was the whole, oh yeah, shit, that was you, so we had that. So we've obviously we've worked together, and it's just really good to see that you're doing similar things and really focusing on that health and well-being, which is really good. We sort of quasi fell into that, and it wasn't really our goal. We were just normalising the police force, but so much of that is important. So, mate, we've had a ball. Silty, what do you got?
Yeah, mate. Look, just 2 points. Mate, one thing, talking about, I suppose, interstate relationships with other cops. Get to know some of the other cops in the other states as well. Go in and say hello. It is so important to have that networking. You can get a lot more stuff done. We spoke about networking even in the territory, between different stations and all that. But doing that interstate as well is so important. Just knowing someone that's across the border. If you need something double checked and they already know who you are and what you're doing, it is so much easier just to get that information quickly instead of going through the official system. You've got to be careful with information you release, but there's certain, if you can just make a phone call about something and just double check something, it can easily be done, and it makes your work so much easier to do and efficient. So that's probably one of the points there. The other one is, Amit, now we talk about cartonable offences.
Oh, very, very important. Very important.
Yes.
What did I do?
So we want to know if you can think of something that was done in the police that deserves a payment of a carton of some sort, something stupid somebody's done, or yourself.
For fucking living side of the trophy, the winning trophy.
Yeah, that's a perler. For letting Tanya Mace from the Northern Territory Police steal.
That's a cartonable offence.
That is a cartonable offence. For stealing, for allowing the Avon Downs Cricket Interstate Police Trophy to be stolen by the Northern Territory Police and taken from Queensland, or taken from the rightful hands of Queensland Police, and then smuggled to the Tennant Creek Police Station for an extended period of time. That is absolutely a carton.
And for that, I think I nominate Commander Carly Anderson and Senior Sergeant Tanya Mace.
Yeah. No doubt.
They're front up.
There is no doubt.
I reckon they owe cartons, and they'll pay them too.
Yeah.
They bloody will. They'll help you drink them too. It's been a pleasure, mate. It's been really good, and what I love is that we don't know each other that well, but we certainly have a lot in common, and it's just the same with police everywhere. So if you're listening, just get to know people, and because you'll build relationships you didn't even know existed. It's really great. So, mate, we thank you very much for coming on. And can you just, for the last time, just plug your podcast and also the second podcast again?
Oh, yeah. So the Strong Legacy podcast is on Spotify. So, and the other one is the role of fitness and police. It's just for QPS. It's internal, so it's not outside yet. So, just the Strong Legacy podcast. It's on Spotify. Yeah, listen to that. And if anybody's else interested, I've released a audiobook called Halembu Legacy. It's my story about climbing the base camp, the dramas I faced there. So it's never ideal moment. But on the last note, if anybody traveling and stuff like that, IPA, International Police Association, best way to get out in the world and meet different police and hang out with them. And there's a lot of different houses and accommodations that you can get for cheap. So check that out.
Oh,
that's
awesome.
excellent. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Mate, it's been a pleasure. Thanks very much for coming on board, and yeah, we'll stay in touch, mate. It's really good. We're all working together now for the same sort of reason. So, thanks very much,
Yeah.
and to everybody.
Thank you.
Yep, mate. That's it. And I mean, just stay on a little bit once we've stopped recording, just so the system can catch up. But and we'll have a chat offline as well, of course.
Yeah, no worries, mate. No worries.
But otherwise, that's the Two Ordinary Cop signing off. We'll see you next week.
All the best.